Breaking news, fresh off the press, the market is pumping like crazy. Mega God candle as Trump just announced that they're going to implement a strategic reserve that is not only for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also for XRP, Solana Sol, and Cardano 88 that are all up crazy. Cardano actually the biggest gainer, up 70% on the news, but also XRP up 30-40%. Bitcoin went up big time, and Trump also further clarified in a second post that obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, which weren't part of the original announcement, but are obviously also involved as other valuable cryptocurrencies. So I think we're in for some very, very interesting weeks. I actually recorded this video in the morning where everything was still super boring, dry, and market was down bad. Bitcoin at like 85,000. But now, if you look at the markets, refresh CoinGecko, this is how fast it can go. Literally 94,000. We're just up $10,000 on the day for Bitcoin. Ethereum up 13%, now back at $2,500. XRP went up 38% of that news, $3. Solana up 24%. And then Cardano 88, 70%, just crossed $1.08 as I'm recording this segment. So nature is healing, crypto is pumping, and this is literally how fast it can go. I always say that stick through, times are going to be good. At some point, this bearish phase is going to be over. Don't get frustrated, don't get shaken out, don't give up because of exactly those moments, right? And it can also be that the next week, we'll give those gains up again, but you can never really say in crypto, crypto is just this crazy volatile industry where things like that, news like that can just pop out of nowhere and the market will just immediately go absolutely parabolic. And just 2 days ago, the White House also announced that they're going to host a crypto summit, the first ever crypto summit on Friday, March 7th. So in 5 days, the White House is going to host a crypto summit led by David Sachs, who is the official crypto and AI czar to the government. And I think there will also be some interesting news coming out there. I don't know who is going to be there. I think obviously probably like XRP representatives, Cardano, Solana, some others, hopefully some builders and founders from the Cosmos ecosystem as well, because there are actually a lot of teams that are from the US, right? Even now, the new leadership in Cosmos, the Interchain Labs co-CEOs are both in New York. That's also where the headquarters are. Megan Berry and the new ICL leadership. I think it will be interesting to see who will be there and what an impact that will have on the prices. But you can literally see from one piece of news that was announced, one tweet, one announcement by Trump, crypto related, how that impacts crypto immediately. But anyways, now I'm going to leave you with a video. Again, I recorded it before the news came out when everything was still down bad. But I think this is definitely a pivotal moment that will potentially impact the trajectory for the bull run in the short term. Salam alaikum and Ramadan Kareem to all my Muslim friends, and buenos dias to Cryptocito, which is a media platform specialized on the Cosmos ecosystem since now 4 years. And we're just seeing Bitcoin going down 15 or 20%, which also affects obviously the altcoin market, which means we're seeing another major reset, another reshuffling of the cards in crypto. And as that reshuffling takes place, we're also seeing a lot of people just getting washed out. They're getting shaken out, they're capitulating, they're leaving the industry, they stop believing in it, they sell everything at a loss, and they're just doing something else. They're just mad and frustrated with crypto, which I totally understand. It is a very frustrating industry at times. But as I said in the last videos, without max pain, we do not deserve max gains. But if you look at the fear and greed indicator, we're seeing now historic lows. So we're actually now lower than the FTX collapse or the entire year of 2023, which was also a very challenging and difficult year. And we're now at even below or the same level than the Luna collapse back in summer of 2022. So we're the same sentiment. You can see this was just an absolute free fall in sentiment over the past few weeks. Very, very brutal. But now the question is, when are we going to bounce? When is the market going to bounce after this very surprisingly bearish February? Because usually Februaries are always bullish. Besides 2020 and, well, 2014, February has always been in the greens for Bitcoin. Now we're entering March, which has seen some red years, actually between 2014 and 2018, and also always had a red month after February was also a red month. You can see that in 2020 and 2014. Well, it doesn't mean a lot, to be honest. I think a lot of this stuff is also news-driven, sentiment-driven, which in the short term can really change based on any influx of capital, any major player joining crypto, investing money into it. Because in the end of the day, crypto, especially the entire altcoin market, is still a tiny industry and does not require a lot of money to move the markets. The Bitcoin dominance is still sitting at 61%, but this also shows that relative to Bitcoin, altcoins did show at least some sort of strength, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem. We saw TIA actually not dumping at all, but actually went up 15 or 20%. But it's also important to state, of course, that TIA is already at the bottom. It's already at very, very low levels from the all-time highs at $20. Now it's at $3, $4. But it went below $3 the other week. And I personally obviously do not see any fundamental reason why that would happen again. But of course, in the same way that things can go irrationally high and to crazy valuations in a bull run, the same way in a bearish phase that we're right now, we also can see another major dump to lows that do not make any sense. And I think TIA, for example, and Akash AKT, even Cosmos Atom, I think a lot of these coins are actually at ridiculous levels, but we're going to look into that. Now, we're also seeing the SEC actually changing their stance on crypto and ending a lot of investigations on Monday against Robinhood, Tuesday Uniswap, Wednesday Gemini, and Thursday on Consensus. So all those investigations have been dropped. There are no more investigations, which is basically a bullish signal for crypto in the US. Looking into the Cosmos ecosystem price movements, we're seeing Mantra still by far the biggest Cosmos chain, $7.53, which implies a $7.5 billion market cap, actually a lot higher than that based on FDV. TIA reclaiming the second rank now, $4.22, roughly a $2.3 billion valuation. Then we have Kronos, Crow, and Cosmos Hub, Atom. Behind that, still below $5. Then ASI, Alliance, Fetch AI, 65 cents. We have some major news from Fetch AI there as well. Then Injective, Say, DYDX, which at those levels to me is ridiculous, as I stated, also other coins, but DYDX specifically, Akash as well, another one that's dirt cheap right now. Osmosis below 30 cents is absolutely crazy to me. And I don't think we'll see those valuations forever, right? Obviously, I can be wrong. Everything can go to zero, but I truly believe in this stuff. I believe in the Epstein thesis, in sovereignty and interoperability, which is what Cosmos really stands for. So I believe that eventually a lot of these projects, of course not all of them, but many of them will recover and will reach new all-time highs. Now, one of the latest chains that also implements Cosmos technology is Berachain, which I also hope in 2025 is going to be more proudly representing that they are part of Cosmos because they implement Comet BFT as their consensus and eventually will also connect to IBC via Union or hopefully in the future also just natively. But the TIA price has also been recovering a little bit, ranked 94 now in the top 100, $4.3 billion FTV. And this chart is now recovering after a shaky launch that also got a lot of fat as expected, to be honest. And they have now activated governance phase 1, which is now live. The first step to initiate this POL, proof of liquidity flywheel, to get into action. And if you're not aware of POL, then you have to watch my other Berachain videos. I did a recent one just a week ago after Berachain went on mainnet. And you definitely have to understand how POL works, what these vault whitelistings means, and how the relationship between validators and projects and also delegators is in the end of the day, and also the entire flywheel between the Bera token and the BGT token, and also Honey as their stablecoins. So what you're going to see now is more and more discussions around reward vaults, where also projects have to basically get BGT emissions directed to those vaults in collaboration with validators, which also means for us at Stakecito, we're one of the validators for Berachain. It is going to be very interesting how that plays out. Another contender from the Cosmos ecosystem that is fully built on the Cosmos SDK, natively IBC compatible, is Saga, which is optimized but not limited to gaming. And Saga has an ecosystem of so-called chainlets that are basically sovereign execution environments within the Saga ecosystem, fully compatible with the rest of all other chainlets, and that would also share liquidity through the so-called liquidity integration layer, which is an implementation of Uniswap v3. So Uniswap v3 contracts are now deployed as a chainlet on Saga, and you can come here and provide your liquidity, which eventually is also going to be the most incentivized way on how you can also compound and get more Saga airdropped to your wallet, because eventually we're now entering Vault 2 of their airdrop distribution phase to also incentivize liquidity provision natively on the Saga mainnet. So that is very, very interesting. Right now, you can only come here and provide liquidity for a few coins, a few tokens. $5 million in liquidity has been provided right there. And those 5 coins that are currently on there are USDC, Wrapped Ethereum, Saga, Tether USD, and also Uni token. And the liquidity integration layer, short little, is fully EVM compatible. Also, gasless transactions, infinite horizontal scalability, and seamless cross-chain composability, because it also implements Squid Router. So Oku, which is one of the developer teams, I believe, that is working on Uniswap. They have built this, and they have integrated Squid Router, which is built on Axelar technology. Next, we also have one of the most highly anticipated launches of 2025 coming up, which is Babylon. You know about Babylon since 2022, so almost 3 years if you subscribe to Cryptocito. We talked about it a very, very long time ago, way before it was even all around Bitcoin staking. Now, roughly $5 billion in TVL later, the dollar amount is actually lower now because the Bitcoin price went down, but still 55,000 BTC are locked up on Babylon right now. And this is going to get interaction very, very soon. With Stakecito, we're very proud to be a finality provider on Babylon, and we're also proud to be one of the validators, Genesis validators, once the Babylon chain itself is going live, which will be the very first BSN, Bitcoin Secured Network. So Babylon is going to be the first user of locked BTC on the Babylon network to secure the Babylon chain. And if you want to understand more on how that all works, then you can come here on their website, the babylonlabs.io website. There's all information about Bitcoin staking, some stats, staking interfaces, and then you can also play around with it. And remember that you have to register for your baby airdrop. You only have 12 days left. They actually implemented one major change, which is that if you are holding a Pioneer's Pass, this Pioneer's NFT Pass, then previously there was a requirement that you also have to be a staker, but they removed this correlation now. So if you're holding the Pioneer's Pass, then you are getting the airdrop, whether or not you have been staking your BTC with Babylon. That has been a big request from the community, and it's good to see that the Babylon team is listening and also executing upon this user feedback. Speaking of Babylon, we also have ecosystem news. Tower is going to be the first DEX on the Babylon blockchain, and Tower is actually built by the Quasar team. So Quasar is essentially going to entirely migrate to that new project. From my understanding, also going to entirely shut down the Quasar chain. And yes, there will be a conversion or a airdrop for QSR token holders for that new token. And in that context, I also want to share that I have revoked and stepped back from my advisory for Quasar. In fact, I never received any tokens. The same counts for Kinetics. I have never received any tokens or any payment for that either. And I have revoked this one as well. And the same also counts for Picasso, where I did receive tokens and have staked them, but I'm also going to send back all tokens plus all the accrued staking rewards. So just for transparency purposes, I believe that I could not add as much value as I would have wanted to as an advisor to those projects. And I think it doesn't really make sense for me to keep those roles if there's nothing for me that I can contribute in terms of value. And if you want to read more, and also their collaboration with Union, Carol and Valeo, the founder of Union and Quasar, or now Tower respectively, also very good friends and also closely collaborate. So I think there's going to be a lot of integrations and spillovers between those projects as well. And Union itself is also going to be a big launch. It's actually going to happen and launch very, very soon. Now, we also have some major updates from Fetch AI, which has announced the launch of ASI1 Mini, the world's first Web3 large language model designed for agentic AI. Well, I'm not very, very deep in AI, but this definitely sounds very, very interesting. And again, this is all technology made in Cosmos. Fetch is a full-on Cosmos blockchain, and the ASI is a merger between various projects that all have migrated onto the Fetch chain, aka a Cosmos chain. You can actually play around with ASI1 Mini here on ASI1.ai. And finally, we have some news from Namada, which is now in phase 3 of their mainnet, and that means IBC asset transfer and shielding are now enabled. Note, this is not yet applicable, at least from my understanding, for the NUM token, and the NUM token still does not have a price. You can stake it, however, and you can accrue staking rewards. With Stakecito, we're one of the validators and appreciate all your delegations, but the NUM IBC compatibility is only going to be activated in phase 5. So we still have one more phase to go. I think the phase after that, so phase 4, is going to be for incentives for those that are shielding their assets on Namada, and then phase 5 will be to activate IBC for NUM token itself, which is also probably where it's going to get listed and where it will have a price. Then some quick news, we also have Ondo now partnering with Mastercard. And why am I talking about Ondo? Well, because Ondo just announced that they're going to launch a Cosmos chain sometime this year. And that's going to be very interesting, because that means that RWAs are going to be entirely dominated by Cosmos technology, right? We already have Babylon, which is dominating Bitcoin staking. That is a full-on Cosmos chain with Mantra, Provenance, Noble, and now Ondo. We have a RWA Super Alliance. And then we also have AI, right? The AI sector with Fetch AI, with Akash Network, with EOS, with many more projects that is also fully made in Cosmos. So a lot of the verticals are actually dominated by Cosmos, and I think we're going to see that more and more. And why is that? Well, because in the end of the day, sovereignty and interoperability, the entire app-chain thesis is just playing out. And the same counts for modularity, which is basically an entire category that was invented by Celestia. And we're now seeing more and more the Celestia ecosystem come together. I talk a lot about Eclipse, which is deploying the Solana virtual machine super fast and has this huge gamification going on right now where you can tap to earn, basically, to earn points that essentially will translate into tokens. And the Eclipse token, I think, is going to do quite well as well. And a similar thing probably counts for Astria, which has now introduced the Astria bridging protocol that is going to be IBC enabled. So more and more of these projects are also directly integrating IBC out of the box or an extension of IBC itself, right? But I think Astria also, mentioning Celestia here, which itself is a full-on Cosmos blockchain, and also Noble, which is the home for USDC. Now, I mentioned Akash Network earlier. We actually have Greg Ozuri listed as the #1 DePIN KOL according to Cato, which is a social intelligence platform, basically, that also, by the way, just gave out an airdrop. So if you've been active on Twitter, then you're probably eligible for the Kaito airdrop. I'm going to leave a link below this video so you can check if you are eligible. But Greg Ozuri, being the #1 DePIN KOL, another category that Cosmos is also really, really strongly represented in, the entire DePIN, RWA. There's obviously a lot of overlaps as well between those verticals with AI as well. And the same counts for interoperability. Axelar Network just announced Hardened Tokenomics. They're going to basically upgrade their AXL tokenomics. And finally, two more news from two more gem projects, one of them being a microgem, a super small market cap coin that I've been following for many, many years. And all of you that have been watching over the years, you know Passage, the metaverse playing Cosmos, which, yes, is a very, very cold, ice cold narrative right now. No one really cares about metaverse right now, nor NFTs or anything that's related to that. But Passage has just announced that they have built the largest world to date, their virtual world, with MIT Reality Hack. So they have basically built a virtual replica of the 7.3 million square foot MIT campus. That's how it looks like. And I think very interesting that they landed this partnership and also showcase Passage technology, which taps into Akash technology as well for compute, but also is entirely built on Cosmos in the first place, right? Passage token went up on the news, up 35% today. But if you zoom out, it still looks very, very, very brutal. And this pump is just a sign of life. So it's still a very long way to go. Zoom out, this chart has been down only since ever, pretty much. All-time high was at around 12 cents around a year ago, a year and 2 months. So, but yeah, I think that the team is very strong. They have strong product market fit with their product, but I think they also need to understand that the Passage token is also part of the product, which is something that hardcore builders oftentimes forget, right? Because they don't really have a strong business sense that is baked into the product. Anyways, that's that. Then we also have Dydx, and we talked in the last video how they have a new iOS app now that you can download and you can trade on. In fact, we made a tutorial on that, and I'm going to leave you with Tang ending up this video to walk you through the Dydx platform on your mobile device. And I'll see you here very soon on Cryptocito. Until then, stay safe and be good.